Welcome back to the Coming Home to You Sparkcast, the sanctuary for soul-led women, healers, mamas, and visionaries ready to rise fully in their light. Here we remember what it means to come home to ourselves, beyond the roles and beyond the noise and expectations of the world, and the ones that we put on ourselves. Because coming home to you really is a destination, it's not a devotion. And this space is where progress matters more than perfection. And every episode is an invitation, a step on the journey, a breath of remembrance, and a chance to really reconnect with your true self and embrace the unique path unfolding for you. And now, as we always do, let's dive in with our sacred breath, a moment to align and to come to this moment, to unify and return to our heart. So together, let's breathe as one. So wherever you are, just allow yourself to settle into your chair, to your seat, placing one hand in your heart and the other in your womb, in your belly, in your center. And when you take a deep breath in, I want you to imagine that breath starting from the base, going up to your crown, taking that breath up, holding to the top, just holding it there for 4 counts. And then when you release with a slow 6 count, allow anything holding you down, weighing on you, to just kind of release and let go and melt away. Allowing that just to settle even deeper into your seat, feeling your feet grounding onto earth. And now take another deep breath in. And when you hold it at the top, I want you to think of something that you're grateful for, something that lights you up. And hold it at the top and really just smile with your whole being, with your face. Really feel that moment. And when you breathe out, just feel it and wrap all over your body, consuming your space. And when you take another deep breath in, stack another moment to be grateful for. Letting it bloom in your heart center and expanding within you. And when you breathe out, imagine that gratitude just ripple forward to all the women in the center, in this circle, and to all those listening who can use some extra love today. And now in this space, I want you to just set your intention. How do you want to be received, to be held, to show up in this moment? And now take that intention and smile with it. And with one breath and one heart, we may now begin. I'm still feeling that rippling out. Thank you. Today, I really have the deep honor of welcoming back a friend and a powerful voice in our community. Her name is Gwen Geerinck. She has shared her wisdom on this beautiful Sparkcast panel before, and her wisdom is undeniable. But this time, we actually get to sit with her one-on-one. So I'm so honored and delighted for this conversation. Gwen is a tantric leader, a transformational guide, and a woman who just truly embodies the courage, compassion, and presence that it takes to lead from the heart. Her journey is one of radical authenticity and deep devotion. She invites others to step beyond fear and into the truth of who they are. Through her teachings and lived example, Gwen reminds us that leadership is not about control or perfection, but about surrendering and embodiment. And it's both within ourselves and how we are also in our communities that we serve. So please help me welcome Gwen today. Hi, Gwen. Welcome.
Welcome and thank you for having me, Margarita Rose. I'm excited for this moment with you and all the people who are watching.
Yes, I don't get to share you today. I'm so delighted to go deep with this with you. I've always just loved your insights and in the panels that you've been on. And you really helped me see tantric in a different way. So I'm just excited to where this conversation can take us and all
Mm.
the beautiful new things that we can learn about ourselves and about life. So let's just dive in, right? Why shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Jump.
Yes. So Gwen, you've walked that such a unique path, right, of spiritual leadership and deep inner work. So can you share with us what rooted you in this journey, and then what does homecoming truly mean to you at its core?
Interesting question. So my journey started really young, actually, when I started to discover that my hands could do things that I didn't understood. And getting older, I just wanted to understand what was going on with me. For example, when my dad had a headache and I was massaging his head, then I had the headache and he was released. So at some point, I had to discover for myself what was going on with me and I had to, yeah, learn my about my talents. Like it was like a little toddler that was playing with daddy's toys, right? So I had to discover everything. And the homecoming for me is um, really learn to listen to your inner voice, which is not the same as a chit chat in your head. So that's for me coming home when you learn to understand the difference between the voices in your head and the pull that is coming from within, that is led by your soul or your heartbeat or whatever you want to call it, right? Yeah.
That's beautiful. Learn to discern between the noise in your head and the inner wisdom guiding you to the truth
Yes.
and the path of who you are.
Mm.
So was there anything that helped you in that journey that you started to do that really um, was what you took on to discern? Like, what were the steps, and how did you really understand that it was something that was a gift and also something that you needed to protect yourself from?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was younger, when I was in the age of 15, I started to use a pendula. And I started to read books. And then I discovered meditation and yoga and all these things. So I started with these practices. And yeah, moving forward, like reading about it, I recall a book. It was the Pleiadian playbook or something. It was a blue book with purple or blue text inside, which is not the same as a traditional black text, right? So, and I was reading in that book. It was a gift from my husband back then, and so I was reading in it, and I was on a bus, and I was reading in that book, and at some points, in specific moments, I was reading that book. Things were so real for me, clear for me. Like mm, it was as if something inside of me just woke up because everything that I was reading in that book was so aligned with my inner knowing. And I recall that in that moment I started to cry, but really cry. The only thing that I could do for the next 45 minutes was crying. And I just left that bus, ran home, and I came in crying. And my children, they thought something was wrong. And I said, no, everything's perfectly fine. I'm just waking up. So, and that was a journey that for me never stopped because during my life, I received so many gifts from people, like out of the blue, a Reiki, like somebody was practicing Reiki, and she said like, "Hey, do you want to be part of this? Because I want to practice." And then before I knew it, I was a Reiki master. Back then, for me, it was like I didn't understand anything. It was just allowing and surrendering, because when somebody offered something like this, I just knew that it was part of my journey and I just surrendered. And I also learned on an early age that pain and suffering is something that isn't meant to punish you or to disearn you or to teach you a lesson, but it are ways to evoke the consciousness you need to own the vibration that is aligned with your soul. And every time I struggled with illness, I always surrendered, and I knew that was a moment that I just had to lean in, go inside, listen to my inner voice, and then the cure came out of nowhere. So, for example, I had a moment that it was in 2009, and it was the swine flu, or the Mexican flu, as they called it back then. And a lot of people died from it, also in Europe. And at some morning, I woke up and I was very, very ill. And on one side, I couldn't hear anything. I was like an old lady from 95 years old, like, what do you say to me? I don't hear you. And it took like, it was like, and the doctor couldn't find anything. Like, he said, like, your ear is perfectly normal. Okay. And so in that moment, I just had to stay in bed because I had high fevers, and I always transition with high fever. When I have high fever, something shifts in my system, like it's an upgrade in my brain.
Love that.
Yes, really, it is. It is like after the fever, my whole life changes. The colors are different. The things I resonate with are different. And it's every time when I have high fever, things shift. So my strong belief is that mm, every time you surrender, you grow. And raising your energy or raising your frequency is mm, is important to understand the universe or your universe. Like, it's not something for me, the universe is not something that it's something outside. It's, for me, everything that's outside is a multiverse. It's a connection of all the little sweet universe in each person's heart that come together as a collective. And that vibration makes a society. That vibration makes a community. That vibration evokes and causes and created the things we see in our world. So when we want to see changes in the world we have, then we get to level up our vibration. And when we do that as a collective, things change. And not because we are in the doing, but because we are in the being, because we are allowing to navigate our frequency in order to match the higher vibrations that give us clairvoyance, that give us the things we need in order to understand the multiverse or the universe within. Yeah.
Yeah, oh my gosh, you said so many beautiful things there. I couldn't type fast enough. Um, I think what landed the most for me in that and all of what you said was when you are aligned in what you're meant to be, when you listen and surrender, things come to you, things open up for you. The path is serendipitous and it's not a coincidence. It's no accident that these people started coming to you because you opened your frequency to that and you elevated yourself to a higher
Yeah,
space. What I also heard was if you want to manifest the things that you want in life, then you get to raise your frequency and always be in that space so that you're manifesting from the highest good for all, not just for you, but for all. And
exactly.
that's the sweet spot, is what I also heard.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I was gold. I think I'm going to be playing this last segment just on repeat until it really grounds me in those moments that seem, because there are moments, right? Life happens and we can get stuck in the noise. We can get stuck in overcoming the expectations. And a lot of times it just takes the smallest thing like reframing, right?
Yeah,
And you
absolutely.
specifically, yeah, you've spoken before about the courage that it takes to really embody truth, even when it feels uncomfortable. So, like, can you
Absolutely.
share? Yes. So, can you share with us a pivotal moment where you had to rise
Yeah.
through the challenge, and how did it transform your leadership?
Mhm. The first remembrance of that was when I was 18 years old. I was sitting with my dad in a cafe, and we were drinking with friends, and he was doing his being him. And I had the tendency to seek for approval. He was very important for me that he respected me and saw me and accepted me for who I am. And in that time, we didn't have the connection where we could align with each other. And for me, it felt very challenging to be myself without feeling judged or rejected by him. So at some point, the conversation went in a way, and he was drinking alcohol. He was an alcoholic. So he was drinking alcohol, and he was going in an energy that totally did not align with me. So I ran to the bathroom, and in that moment, I looked into the mirror and I started crying. I really started really crying. And in that moment, I looked into my own eyes and I said to myself, you are worthy. And nobody else can tell something different. And that doesn't mean that I never struggle with that part. I do, believe me, I do. Um, However, I found for myself a way to be truthful to myself. And also, even when it's challenging, the truth always brings you the most precious, valuable insight and gift in life. Because when you start to talk your truth, everything shifts. And in that moment, I was really truthful to myself. I cannot allow another person, even my dad, make me feel this way.
Mhm.
And I get to speak. I get to use my voice, and I don't need to go in there and make a fight or anything. I just had to. There was this when I was having that moment. There was this energy that came into my system, and it grounded me so strong in coming home that I just went outside and everything was neutral. That person could not impact me in that specific moment. And I was just with my, yeah, traditional, like my voice, without irritation, without frustration, without the fear, without the anger, without the pain, without the victim stuff. I just went there and I said, this is not okay. I believe I go home.
Mhm.
And that day I promised myself, even when it's hard, use your voice and dare to look into the mirror. Whether it is another person that is showing you something, whether it is yourself by really looking into the mirror, this is what you get to do the rest of your life. And sometimes it takes a while. It's not always happening in that moment. Sometimes I drift. And it takes a bit before I understand, like, oh, I was drifting and I was not aligned with myself and I was not speaking the truth with myself and I was not genuine with the other person. Because sometimes when you need something, you often go and look for it outside of you.
Mm.
You go and you need somebody else to give it to you. And if he or she doesn't give it to you, you're disappointed, you're angry, you're frustrated, you're everything, right?
Yeah.
But that's the moment you give your power away. And every
Yes.
time when I feel I give my power away, I just take it back. And then because of doing that, the frustration and the irritation and everything that goes with that person just vanishes. And then there can be a normal conversation without having a fight. And the beauty is that when you are coming in with that loving truth, people open up
Mhm.
and people change and relationships change. I'm living with my ex for almost 8 years together without being together because we chose to raise the kids together. We chose our friendship over all the things that didn't work in the relationship, and we chose to support each other as friends. And we had the same dreams and aspirations. So instead of going there, finding new people, finding other people, and doing it alone, and we just joined power because of the kids, because of our friendship, because of the value we have for each other. And we just told ourselves, like, we get to be honest with each other and we get to be honest with ourselves. And we don't need to judge, reject, be angry towards each other because the other is not fulfilling the needs within a romantic relationship.
Yeah, and I think
And
so.
nobody understands that. But we
No,
chose
and
to
so
change
beautiful.
the narrative.
Yes. What stood out the most to me, oh my gosh. First of all, wow, yes. All of what she just said. Because when you give your power away, you really are in the space of victim. It's happening to me. I have no control. It's other people's shit. I did this because they said that or did that to me, and you don't understand. And I got so good at sticking to my victim story for so long that even though I had the awareness, the knowing, right, especially going through leadership and having mentors, that was the first thing that allowed me to even have the awareness, is to be around people who were doing the work, because I didn't know what I didn't know. And when those awarenesses happened, I still was making the same mistakes. I was still in my same pattern because I didn't realize how like stuck I was on being the victim and being right about being the
Yeah,
victim. And
yeah.
it's so interesting how we do that. But I love what you said. What stood out the most is when you can be in a space of neutrality, meaning you don't make it right or wrong. It just is what it is. What is there here for me to learn? What am I not, how am I not showing up? What am I not giving myself as well? I heard too. What I also heard you say was when you feel abandoned by someone, maybe look and see, where am I abandoning myself? Where in my life am I creating that in my space or treating others in that way? Because
Absolutely.
what I'm hearing you say is that life reflects to you what you give it.
Absolutely.
And when you can take your power back, that's when you have true control. And when you take full responsibility is when you can really start showing up in the truth of who you are, is what I heard too.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful, summarized. Well, the thing is, like, when we meet somebody, it doesn't matter whether it's a partner or a friend or anything, you come in and you don't know each other, and you're open and you're curious and you're inspired, and the energy is amazing. And then for some reason, something happens and it triggers an old pain in both of you. And most likely it is the same pain. You triggered the same pain with each other. And then the whole narrative of the relationship changes. And then trust comes into play, and truth comes into play,
And
and
resentment.
tenderness comes into play, where you cannot be vulnerable anymore with that specific person. You
Because you have
don't trust
resentment,
that. Yeah,
which I
you
think
don't.
is the killer of connection.
Yeah, which you don't trust the person anymore. The vulnerability is gone. So the tenderness of the connection like is gone. And trusting the other person enough to speak your truth, even when it's difficult, that disappears. And one by one, you actually ruin something very beautiful, which had the potential to be something very powerful, turned out into a drama. And we do this all the
On
time.
repeat, on repeat, like on repeat.
Yeah,
With
and if that person
not
goes
just your
away, the energy is still there.
energy still
So
there.
you attract another person that is
Even
going
a
to
boss,
be exact the same dynamic.
a friend can be that. A boss can be that. A child can be that. If that energy is there,
Everybody.
you're going to attract that
Yeah.
until you acknowledge
Gifted.
and give yourself the space of love and compassion that is missing in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
So it's all about really having resiliency and that inner knowing, having devotional rituals, right? Your work really blends tantric beautifully, like the wisdom of tantric in, and you have embodied presence as well, and such a beautiful soulful leadership in the way that you approach your work. What are some of the sacred practices that you turn to the most when you need grounding and resilience, and how can others begin to access them as well?
For me, the biggest one is music and dance.
Me too, girl. I love it.
Yeah. And you know these people, I think they are Sufis. I think the one who dance in circle with these white robes, and they go all the time and they go into trance completely, like they circle around their own body like long and fast. And I wasn't aware that it exists until I discovered, of course, but I was doing that since I was a little child. Like every time when I was feeling out of balance, when I was not, I started to put on music and like going in circles around my own in a spiral. And I still do that. And every time when I go there, I tap into a force of homecoming. And
Hmm.
my whole body starts to go in a sort of trance. And then is where I feel that liberation exists. And I predominantly do that barefoot. And I haven't been doing that for a while on my barefoot because I wasn't able to walk without shoes for a couple of years because I was healing, or I am still healing from an autoimmune disorder. Which is like for traditional medicine, it is something you never cure from and you die with it or you die from it. But that's for me, that's a no-go. Like I just
Mm.
step into that quantum force
Yes.
and I know that everything that is in my system has to do with aware or unaware trauma. So when life comes in and shuts me down for some reason, I know that I start a journey of healing. And I recall a moment that it was in 2009 that I had the swine flu. In that same moment, I couldn't eat. I couldn't drink. I couldn't do anything. I was just a plant in bed. And every time I took food, I had to throw up. I couldn't even drink a little bit of water, nothing. And
Mm.
it stayed that way. And it started actually as a child. I had a very severe asthma, and I cured myself from it at the age of 18. Without medicines, I'm 52 and still without medicines, and I don't have any asthma anymore. But in that time when my children were little, I didn't have asthma, but there was a stressful situation that for me evoked an asthma attack because I went downstairs to sit with my children while they were eating, and and I felt like, okay, I get to go back to bed. So I went back upstairs, and by the moment I came upstairs, I didn't have any air anymore, so I couldn't breathe anymore, and I felt like, am I having an asthma attack? Like I'm running out of breath here. And the first thing that I could remember was I was hitting the floor to grab attention of my husband downstairs. And he came up, and in that moment I couldn't talk anymore because of the severe asthma attack.
Oh.
And he knew that if I was in that space, I never went to the hospital before. When I was younger, I did, of course, because I didn't know better. But in that moment, he knew exactly what to do to guide me through that attack. But in that moment, nothing happened. Like he was doing all the stuff that he knew he had to do, but nothing was working. And the only thing that for him made sense was, I cannot bring her to the hospital because then I lose her. She gets to stay here. And and he started to heal, and I lost my consciousness. And in that moment, I don't know how long I was away. I don't know. The only thing that I knew that was a really big light, and I was getting closer. And at some point, I felt I go back. And in three big pushes, I jumped back into my body because I could see myself, and I started like, and I started to breathe again.
Wow.
And it was actually 5 or 6 years later, while listening to a YouTube video about somebody who had a near-death experience, that I realized that I had a near-death experience, but I wasn't aware. For me, it was just an initiation. And that moment for me was like, okay, I made a choice. But in that moment that I was in there, I saw a lot of so many people, and I knew a lot of people. I knew that I would connect with them at some point. So when I started in that journey, I didn't eat for over 6 months, and in the first 3 weeks, I lost like 15 kilos or even more. I was like very skinny, and everybody was very afraid, and everybody was pushing to go to the hospital. My family, like, she gets to go to the hospital. And and Bart, he was just, no, she's not.
Mm.
So, and after 3 weeks, I couldn't eat still. But I started to heal. So I gained my weight. 3 weeks later or 1 month later, I was back to normal. And I could feel the difference between an organic tomato and a chemical treated tomato, like a traditional tomato. So my senses were so high, but I also had moments that I felt that I was going crazy, like because the people that I knew that I thought that could support me in that journey, I was completely shut off. I could not connect with them. I tried to call them. Nothing happened. I couldn't connect with them. And so
What was the
I
message you got from that? Like
and I just
energetically.
had to lean into myself.
Mm.
I just had to lean into myself, and I didn't need anybody else other than my own wisdom to heal myself. And the thing was that a few weeks before, my husband, he invited me to go to a course of Blavatsky. And I was there, and this guy was very mental, like, and I said, I cannot do this course. I grabbed my books and I put them on the shelf. And in that same period, one of the books, I opened the closet for something else. That book dropped out, opened the page, I turned it around. I was reading what was standing there, and it was exactly the process that I was going through. This is the magic of the universe within. You are always guided, and it's not that, of course, mm, vibration is vibration, whether it's inside, whether it's outside, it doesn't matter. But the baseline is that we don't need to seek anything outside of us. We don't need to worship anything outside of us. We get to be vulnerable, truthful, and honoring ourselves. And when we can do that, then God appears. Because it's this specific frequency within that connects you with all that is.
Yes. I love all of that. I think one of the things that stood out the most, again, was that you have the power in your mindset to accept a prognosis or to say that's not going to be my story. Just last night, I was just talking to somebody about teenagers and kids, and there's always like, oh, wait till they're teenagers, wait till they're teenagers, and and I was like, no, I would like to think that I'm the exception in the rule because I choose it and I declare it, and I'm going to do what it takes to make different choices and to be in the awareness of, okay, what's missing in this moment. And what I love about that is that now quantum physics does say that the mind is the creator of all, and the invitation to get curious as to what else is out there that you haven't tried that could heal you from something that is uncurable. And a lot of it is because Western medicine hasn't caught up to the power of our mind. I'm not going to say stop going to the doctor, please don't, of course,
No,
but I
no,
just
no.
invite people to get curious as to what um, other ways of being that they haven't, what are they trying hard to be right about?
Yeah,
And I think that's the
there is a
biggest,
reason. There is a reason why doctors exist, right?
yeah.
So it's not like Tantra is all about integration. It's not about whether it's good or bad. It's about tapping into the source that you need the most in that specific moment. And sometimes it can be a doctor, but do never give your power away to a doctor. Let the doctor guide you and use your common sense.
It always gets second opinion and third opinion and fourth opinion, but your opinion is
Yeah,
what
and not
matters the
even
most.
that. Like when somebody tells you something and your body says no, trust the body.
Trust the body. Or
Like,
trust yourself. I think a lot of
well,
times
but
we
that's
don't know how
it.
to trust ourselves. We lost ourselves, our identity, and we look for others for answers. And I think what you're so beautifully saying here in all the questions is take your power back. Like it really lies back on the believing and surrendering that there's a higher calling for you.
And then the biggest question is, what is the power?
What is the power?
In my awareness, the power is not the mind. The power is not the feeling. It's the emotion that comes from it when you bring it together. The mind alone without the body is nothing than consciousness. The body without the mind is nothing else than a physical blueprint of an energetic expression, like the way you look and whatever, right? It's nothing. It's just a mechanism. But when you bring them together, the body knows when, like, the body speaks the language of the heart. And the brain speaks the language of the mind. And when the mind is able to resonate on a different frequency and the body isn't aligned, nothing's going to happen other than misalignment. And this is where you create spiritual bypassing.
Yes.
Because you told in the beginning of our conversation, like I was doing the leadership, I was doing all the stuff, but still I was identifying myself as a victim. So I was aware, but I couldn't implement. And this is where it happens when the mind knows everything.
Yeah. So what
And
I'm
it
hearing
doesn't
is drop
include,
out of your head and go into your heart, into your body, and to your
absolutely.
body. Your body's inner wisdom, it knows and it's telling you
Yeah,
where it needs
absolutely.
attention. If you have a hip pain, like I did for a long time, talk to your body, ask it why it's there.
Yeah,
In my case, it
absolutely.
was shame and guilt that I was able to process and let go of. And earlier you said that the doctors couldn't find anything wrong with you, and I had the same situation. I had MRIs, X-rays, all these acupuncture, everything done. Nothing can get the pain go away. Why? Because it was a stuck emotion. It was a belief that I had that that I had shame. I am bad. I am a bad person. Until I finally was able to heal that, the pain went away.
Yeah.
So I love that. And I think it's important. I think earlier you mentioned too about community. You said that when you started doing the work, you didn't have the same people to fall back onto. So and you've been such a beautiful pillar in our Sparkcast panel and in our own communities and within the threads that I'm with you on. What does true community mean to you, and how does it really serve as the bridge for healing and transformation in the world?
Community is the power of the universe. Community is the leverage we create when we really truthfully deep dive into our soul and we radiate that. Community makes beautiful things. Like it's the power, it's exponential growth. You can do something by yourself, but when you connect with community, magic happens. And it goes in both ways. Like when community connects with each other in an unconscious way, we create disaster because it's the power of co-creation. And I recall the moment that we were introduced to the level 4 responsibility part. So many people in my group were like, what? How can I be responsible for somebody else is dying on the other side of the world? Hell yeah. Because where the focus goes, the energy flows. So when you are constantly victimizing other people or animals, and you are like gathering the whole community, like we get to do something for the animal pain, and we get to do something for the rapists, and we get to do something for the little child, and it's not about doing something for them. It's about the way you do it for them, the intention where you're coming from. If you are victimizing a child that lost his parents and has to go and live with other people to take care of them, and you victimize that child, you keep maintaining that vibration forever. When the war and stuff are going, when you are like, we are against the war, we are against, like, where is your focus going? To the war that you don't want. But the universe doesn't understand that. Your heart doesn't know the difference between good and bad. The heart only knows vibration. And the consciousness that comes with that vibration creates. So if your consciousness is in war space, in victim space, in negativity, guess what you create? This is in my awareness, and it's just me, but we caused and created the drama of the COVID all together. And why I dare to say that is because we are all energy, we are all frequency, and we are all consciousness. And when we all together are telling ourselves, I can't do this anymore, this has to stop. I don't want this anymore. I don't like my job. I don't like my marriage. I don't like my body. I don't like my this. I don't want that. And he's the blame, and he's the fault, and he's the shame. And he's like, if we all do that, guess what we create? So if we are all like, the world gets to stop, what is going on in the world, it cannot go on like that. What we created is a global stop. All. And it doesn't matter whether it was a plant, virus by mel people, or it was an accident or a coincidence or a conspiracy theory, or it doesn't matter where it came from. The fact is that our vibration globally was in a vibration of this gets to stop. We can't go on like this.
And what I heard, what I saw too happening is the power of why we are social community beings. We thrive. Why sunlight is being outside is so important for our mental health, and community, and being social and connection. What I also saw is how quickly Mother Earth can heal herself. Like, she has the power. It's just we're impeding. We're the virus. um but it really was also, and I align with what you're saying, because it does feel like it was our energetics way of saying, if we this is not sustainable. And you need to, if you're not going to pause, we're going to make a thing where the whole world pauses so that you can start to recognize what's important, and have you be in a place of curiosity of like, oh my gosh, the world could end. I could die. What if, put you in a place of reflection to see and remember that why you're here, what really truly matters, and
Absolutely.
to make a change. And I think some of us fell even deeper in the fear, fell even deeper in the victim, and then some other of us sought help, sought community in some way, and got creative and innovative in how we came back out. And I think now there's so many of us like us spreading the word of what we learned in that moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those listeners out there who are still feeling unworthy, maybe not seen, totally disconnected still from themselves, from the community, from their own bodies, what reminder or invitation would you have for them to help them just kind of come home to their light again?
And it's a challenge. It's really challenging, but it's a good practice to be truthful to yourself. And what I always teach my clients is make it a daily habit. In the morning and in the evening, you look into the mirror and talk to yourself. Instead of going in and venting to somebody else, just talk to yourself. Like, I understand you are feeling like XYZ, and I love you. I know you are challenging in a challenging situation, and that person doesn't know better in this specific moment. What do you don't know at this specific moment? Because everything is a reflection, right? So what you want, what you get to know what you actually know and you want to know. So what don't you want to know? Like ask your questions, like be very vulnerable and honest with yourself in the mirror. Like it's such a powerful tool to do that. It's easy. It's just like you can do it while brushing your teeth, right? You don't need to carve out extra time. You just talk to yourself in the mirror and say, like, I think you're beautiful today. Yeah, you're so nice. Is there anything that you want to share with me today? And then the conversation starts. And when you start a conversation with yourself, you will be surprised the magic that comes from that and how easy it becomes to use your voice with other people.
Yes. Sorry, with yourself. I'm just making the notes here again. I love that. Simple. Um,
People.
and it's hard, I think I had a hard time looking at myself in the mirror and saying the things and believing them. I felt like it was a fraud. And one of the things that I would say to add to that is maybe end the sentence with, you know, um, I accept myself for all the things that I am, and I'm working harder every day, or I'm taking a step at a time. For today, I love and accept myself. Just like make them small so that your mind believes it. Sometimes we can make grandiose statements and our emotional state, like you said, the emotion is like the driving force. Sometimes our emotional way of being is not resonating. So we're unaligned and we're like, well, man, if affirmations don't work, well, maybe you're trying too hard and you're not believing it. So start small and just really say whatever at the end that is going to be like, right now, today, I choose to love and accept myself. And I'm trying hard and I'm getting better. I'm work, it's small steps, it's progress, not perfection, like whatever it takes to not not I sometimes I like and I hate the term fake it till you make it, but sometimes it is that feeling of just keep going, keep trying. Eventually you'll start
Consistency
believing it. Yeah, and it grows and then you start
and
growing from
commitment.
there. And that just becomes your new way of being. Eventually something clicks and then you realize if you don't take journals and you don't take notes, you'll miss those little moments because they are little and they happen organically, and eventually you realize, oh my God, I used to do that thing and I don't do that anymore. Totally forgot that used to be a thing. And so just have patience with yourself is also what I heard you share in that. So I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, it's so important to acknowledge yourself even for all your imperfections. And the more like people ask me sometimes like, yeah, but I'm a good person. Why are bad things happening to me? Or why it is me again?
Mhm.
The thing is,
Been there.
when it happens, there is one thing you get to take away from it. Go within and find the misalignment.
The misalignment.
When things are not working, and you say like, I'm gonna be rich and I'm gonna earn 100,000 euros this month, but your money beliefs are like, I'm not worthy of money, or people who are rich are um, thieves, for example.
Yes, we all have
There is
limiting
a
beliefs.
mismatch. So you can manifest as much as you want. You can use affirmations as much as you want. If there is no click, it will not happen. And you create the opposite of what you want. So every time when you are in a space where things aren't working, check in your energy, check in the frequency, the intention where you're coming from. Because most likely in that intention, you will find the solution and the answer you're looking for.
Mm, disillusion. Yes. This conversation has just been so rich of wisdom and practical tools. So thank you so much. For those of us who are wanting to continue learning more from you and your approach to healing and where can they connect with you in your work? Where can they find you?
Predominantly, they can find me on Facebook, just by my name. You can see how it's written there in the corner.
Oh, it's
And
a misspelled, by the way, INCK. I am sorry for that.
oh yes, I see that. The C in the middle is there,
C
isn't
is
there? But
missing.
you
I
can
will put
correct
the
it
correct
when,
link in the comments
yeah,
below.
of course. And you have my link when people want to have a free consultation with me, then they are free to book one. Um, and so yeah, let's see what happens over there. If there is somebody you can support, I will do that because that's part of being in a community, right? You get to support the
Yeah.
community.
Yes. So thank you so much again, dear Gwen, for being here. In this conversation, Gwen, with Gwen, we are reminded to be in discovery, to listen deeply to our inner voice, and to learn how to discern between the noise in our head versus our inner voice and discovering the truth of who we are. She teaches us that every time you surrender, you grow. That pain and challenges are here to really awaken our consciousness and align us in our soul's purpose. Her call raise she called us to raise our vibration and to remember that you are worthy and that no one else can tell you differently. And to let everything be neutral because that is where your power lives. She reminded us
Absolutely.
that even when it's hard, use your voice and to stop giving away your power because you already hold the power to heal your body and it's all in your mindset and your emotional state. Her
Absolutely.
invitation is to embody the truth, to let music and dance become the medicine, and to lean into community where real magic is born. And to remember that who we are, who we are, is what we create more of.
Absolutely.
The you-universe within you is already alive with the answers. So start the conversation with yourself. If this conversation sparks something within you, if your heart cracked open just a little more, maybe you felt seen, heard, and just simply not alone, I ask you to please share this with a sister, with a friend, subscribe to our channel, because when you do, it really helps bring this content out to more women who still need that reminder she's not alone and that her voice matters and that healing really is possible. So remember, you're exactly where you're meant to be. Until next
Absolutely.
time, sisters. Yes, keep shining your light, keep rising, keep coming home because you do matter and you are enough exactly as
Absolutely.
you are. I am your host, Margarita Rose. This is Coming Home to You, Sparkcast, with my beautiful friend Gwen. Thank you again. We'll see you next
Thank you for
week.
having me.
Same time, yeah, same time, same Spark channel, friends. We'll see you.
Bye.